Hello and welcome everybody to this Less Stress in Leadership with BeeKonnected show. Today I have another interesting um, guest that I'm going to introduce just in a second. Uh, my name is Dr. Annika Sorensen. I'm a medical doctor from Sweden and I am part of this BeeKonnected group. I'm a host. What do you say? Uh, a coach in the system. You have to remember all those English words. Uh, I'm not going to talk so much about me because this is the showcase of my guest. If you want to know more about what I do and why I do these shows, then you can join my Be Calm Leadership group. You find the link at the bottom on the left hand side, and you click and you ask to connect, and I'll approve you after the show, and then you can see the replays in the group, and you can see all the other shows too in those replays. Uh, so just do click that one, and that will be fine. Uh, Now I want to introduce my guest, Shawna Burkholder. Uh, I am gonna read because I can't keep it in my head all these things. But here she is, the fantastic Shawna. Shawna is a life transformation expert who guides overachieving professionals experiencing burnout to a life of bliss. That's good. She works with her clients to reset priorities, regain time, and revitalize their relationships. Also, a very good thing. At the heart of Shauna's approach is her belief that everyone deserves to lead a fulfilling life. Her programs offer a supportive and empowering path to out of struggle mode and into time and money freedom. In addition, Shawna is an award winning speaker and best selling author. Outside her work world, she has climbed Mount Hood in Washington state and completed 13 marathons. That's that's good. I haven't done any. Welcome, Shawna.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Annika. I am delighted to be here. I think this is going to be a fun conversation. Um, I think we have a lot to learn from each other, and hopefully, we can share some wisdom with the people who are going to watch this conversation with us.
Yes, absolutely. We have guests coming in here. Maybe we have Megan, we have Colleen Parson, and Karen Burkholder. That must be someone related to you.
Not that I know of, but I did see her registered, and I'm like, "Ooh, her and I need to connect and talk." And who knows, right?
Who knows? Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
I'm Washington State, born and raised, so
Yeah, you up in that far corner
yes.
where I actually have been.
That's right.
So, Shauna, please
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your story or your roadmap or how you came to where you are now.
Ah, of course. And I love the fact that you said roadmap because one of the things I did was named my business Journey to Wholeness. And I think, we're all on our own personal hero's journey. And it is like, it is, whether you think of it as a roadmap or a trail map, there are um, byways and highways, and there's dead ends and roadblocks. I just love that analogy of how it fits so well for how we live our life and the things
Mhm.
that we our challenges and where we find opportunities. What I'd like to do is take everyone back with me 10 years ago. And I had just turned 50 and the year before, and it was January of the year 10 years ago. And I said, my life was good, but it wasn't satisfying. And I said, I'm going to make the next 50 years my best 50 years. So I wanted to bring in more things. And like I said, at the time I was working with nonprofits. I had a decent career. I was in a solid relationship. And I also had some stress in my life, which is why I love the name of this series that you're doing, Less Stress in Leadership. Because what I found is the more I was stepping up into leadership roles, of course, the more obligations, the higher the expectations. And in fundraising, when you are in charge of raising the money for a nonprofit so that the people that you serve will have services, if you miss your goals, it has a direct impact on not the company's bottom line, but people's lives. And so, and if you were good at it, they kept raising the goal. Well, if this auction made X amount, next year we want it to be this amount. And next year we want, I guess that's the same with some for-profit businesses. You want to make more money, right? So we had to bring in and earn more money. Um, I was just hitting that point in my career where that I was losing the ability to manage the obligations, except for working harder. So putting in more hours, right? Doing more things, helping, I bring on more staff, but sometimes they needed more help than they had the skill set to do. And something happened literally 10 years ago. My grandmother, of whom I was the primary caregiver, passed away the morning of our largest auction. And we did raise $3.5 million at that auction. But I was an emotional mess. And the best I could do was compartmentalize what I was dealing with in the morning at 7 a.m. and helping get everything that needed to be done for my grandmother. And then by noon, put on a new hat for work that I had to wear for the next 18 hours to do everything that was required. That was kind of like the beginning of the end in some ways. I mean, it was an interesting experience. But what I realized is when I made that declaration that I'm going to make the next 50 years be my best 50 years, something was in play that I didn't realize. That it was like the unraveling of that career where those expectations were so high that I realized I was sacrificing relationships and my health. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. And some other things happened. And literally within 6 months, it was in the summer. And I remember this. I was sitting in my house and it was empty of furniture because I had to sell it because I left the relationship. There was no furniture and I'm crying and I'm thinking to myself, what has happened? How did my life become a dumpster fire when 6 months ago I made this declaration that I was going to make it was going to be better? And what I kind of realized is I needed to burn it down in order to rebuild it. And I recognized I would never, ever want anyone to have to follow in my footsteps and do it the hard way. I realized in hindsight, I didn't have the coping skills. I didn't have the support network. I didn't even recognize the signs of stress, fatigue, overwhelm. I mean, I recognized them, but wasn't doing anything to deal with them until I got to that point of burnout where I felt like my back was against the wall and I had no options. I mean, I really felt like I had no options. I consider myself very fortunate that I wasn't suicidal. I didn't go to, I mean, which would have potentially been a couple of steps away had I not done something differently that was a little more proactive. Um, but I realize now in hindsight and have now gotten some training under my belt, not the medical degrees that you have, but I know that you and I both recognize that we don't want to help people when they're in that far in. We want to help them with lifestyle choices and recognizing stress is a part of daily life or life in general, but how to manage it in a way so that they can have a wonderful life and not get to that point of no return. So that's what happened and put me on this path of now being a coach with a business called Journey to Wholeness. And one of my programs is From Burnout to Bliss, because I think that speaks to a lot of people.
Yes, and your story is unique, of course, but on another scale, it is the same, but different from so
Yes.
many others that I've met. And
Mhm.
we are, just like you said, so bad at seeing our own our own situation
Yes.
and taking it in and doing something about it.
Mhm.
We don't want to. We want to be good, and we want to be successful, and it's hard to admit,
Yes.
and that's why too many people get into burnout. And
Yes.
you were you, fortunate, or whatever you would call it, that you
Yeah.
didn't go all the way into the wall, because
Yes.
when you get in
Mhm.
all the way into the wall, it's so much harder to get back again.
Yes.
And another thing that is very common with what you experience, that I hear, is that there is some kind of situation that
Mhm.
kind of is the turning point, and that was
Mhm.
that. I mean, that day must have been absolutely terrible when
Yeah.
you lose
Yeah.
your grandmother, and then have to go out and smile and be nice,
Mhm.
and oh, we are doing so good.
Yes. It was interesting. That was absolutely what I'll call the catalyst, but it was a few months later when I felt like I hit rock bottom. So it was interesting how it was a little prolonged, because I think that's
Yeah,
probably
but it
also not
works
unusual.
behind here.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah,
And
I was trying to push it away. I wasn't dealing with the debt. I wasn't dealing with the grief. So I
no.
think that's also part of it. I did go and get professional help. I went to a counselor, and I'll share, and I think this might be common too. As this person was giving me suggestions on things that I could do to help myself, my initial reaction was like, that won't work. No, that won't happen. My boss won't give me time. It was amazing how much I fought getting help initially. So I was like, wow. And again, in the 10 years that have passed, I recognize that's also kind of like it's a stage of making
Mhm.
changes in your life and not wanting to move out of your comfort zone, because even if it's bad, it's what you know. And the unknown was scary for me to move
Yeah,
forward.
and it takes more energy to do changes, and we don't have that energy. So it's so much easier to just walk in the hamster wheel and do the
Yep.
same, because
Mhm.
you know what to do, even if it's not the best, even if you know it's not the best, and it takes all that energy, and there is no energy left to jump
Exactly.
out,
You're
because
right.
that costs energy, and
Mhm.
you need to think, what am I going to do? And you don't have that time. You don't take that time to think, what can I do?
Right. And that's why I think, and you probably will agree, partnering with someone who is a life coach, regardless of like what the title might be, is like being on having a roadmap, right? It's someone
Mhm.
that is in the co-pilot role with you and helping to guide you. And so when you want to just like park the car or go on a detour, they're like, let's get back on course, because they help you see the bigger vision and what's possible. Maybe when you feel like you're running out of gas, they help you get the gas you need. Like I said,
Yeah,
this metaphor is very helpful. And
it is. And one more very important thing in that I see in those situations is that the coach, or whoever you are getting the help from, is not to be someone that you are in any kind of a relationship with. And I'm
correct.
not talking about love relationships. I'm talking about friends and
Mhm.
cousins, or you know, they are supposed to be outside your life totally,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
otherwise you have these bindings that will make you as a person never wanting to tell the full story, and
Mhm.
me as the listener, the helper, is going to protect my own part of our relationship, so I
Mhm.
will not give you the advice that you might need.
Yes. Not and also to add that, as well intended as that best friend or call
Mhm.
or other person is, if they don't have the education and the training to be a coach and the tools that can help you, really all they are is a sounding board, or or a shoulder to lean against, but that doesn't necessarily get you from where you're at to where you want to be.
No, but I think the most important is that you have no relation. They are
Correct.
not to know you, and I am not to know the person that I'm helping, because I that's the only time when I can be truly true to that person,
Mhm.
because it's not going to affect me what you do.
Right, right. It's very impartial, which is a benefit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. So, how what do you do now, and how have you gone on? And now we are in Be Connected, and how can you tell a little bit about what that has done for you?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that, because it's really opened up so many doors for me. So, of course, I love to share that part. So, what I do now is I have primarily two different coaching packages that I do. I do one on one, and I do use that analogy of a map where people determine, where they are, where they want to go, and then I help them navigate all the different terrains that they might be coming through in order to get to the destination. But part of that is, especially when people are high achievers and they tend to be what we call A-type personalities, it's all about, what do I get to do? What's the accomplishments? Where do I go? And in the individualized training we do, or the individualized program, we really talk about being in the moment and recognizing that it is in the journey, because we only have today, that we don't want to lose sight because we keep looking so far ahead in the future that we're not enjoying and feeling that our life is fulfilling right now. So that's something that we work on together. Then I have a 6-month group program that is absolutely life transformational. It helps people become the masters of their emotions, which is and their relationships with people, with time, with their own identity. For some, their relationships with religion, because all of these things have a bearing on who we are and how we feel and what we do. And it's a beautiful program, and it's also, because it's a cohort, we're able to we work as a group, but we also have one-on-one buddies, we call it accountability
Hmm.
partners.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
that's good.
it really, and there's lessons and exercises and tools, so it's very encompassing, and it helps move people through this process, because um, one of those phrases I use is when people, if they are into self-help, personal or professional development, you'll read a book, you'll attend a seminar, you might do like 3 sessions, but if you really want lifetime transformation, because it's so easy to get pulled back into that comfort zone. Like you said, it takes more
Hmm.
energy to break out of it,
Hmm.
and it even takes energy to stay out of it into where you want.
Absolutely.
Right? So having that environment where you've changed your peer group and or added to your peer group, and like I said, tools, and that's why I firmly believe that a 6-month program that's immersive is going to really create transformation more than reading a book or attending a seminar. And that's kind of,
Absolutely. Because
yeah,
if you do keep on, it will become a ritual, the new
yeah,
things you do. And if you have rituals, you want to keep doing them. If you have
exactly.
routines, they kind of fade.
Yeah. So let me bring that into what I was doing with my coaching program and how it brought me into Be Connected. So I was part of my career path was to write books. And excuse me a moment. Excuse me. And I started by being in anthologies, and I took a couple courses in how to be public speaker, and I was meeting other coaches who were doing the same thing. So there is another coach on the platform, like you and myself. We are certified coaches here in Be Connected. This gentleman knew me from a boot camp that we attended together for speaking, and he reached out and he said, I think this would be a good opportunity if you're interested in being a coach inside of Be Connected. So I said yes. And the more that I learned, I went, oh, I also know a lot of other people that are coaches. Excuse me. Mm. And so I invited a lot of people to come and join me here. And for some, it was a really good fit. And they said, oh, absolutely, I want to know more. And for others, they said, I'm not so sure. But for the ones that did come over, what we did is we developed a team because I so firmly believe in that cohort model. And also, what I've learned is I call it one of my superpowers is I like being a leader. I like being to lead by example and help form collaborations. So part of it is I brought in almost 2 dozen people to not quite that came in, and some have decided to stay and pursue and are coaches on the platform. And so we're a great team. We collaborate all the time. But that's like the beginning because that I had a vision for. But with Be Connected, what I'm also learning is we have what we call the elite 100 coaches, right? So I have a dozen coaches. That means there's 80 plus people that are also coaches. So like you and we've got this collaboration with the interviews. I'm collaborating with other coaches, and then I'm finding these groups, very specific groups. You have a group, in fact, that I think you'll invite people to, as I have a group. And what I'm finding is that the groups that I join that interest me or are similar, I'm finding ways to partner with those people or add value to what they do because we serve a similar audience. There's just, and I'm going to look at my list because there's just so many different ways that we talk about the benefits of coming in to Be Connected that are associated with features like what we're doing, virtual conferencing, right? But I just found it's the partnerships and the collaborations and the relationships that are opening doors for me and that I'm opening doors for other people that I find the most rewarding.
Yeah, that's really a win-win.
Hmm.
And it is a very friendly um community
Yes,
here.
very much so.
And yeah, it is, and it's so good because you can also have private groups
Hmm.
where you just have those that are your group, and then you can
Hmm.
have what do you say, global groups for where everyone can join and you can
Yes.
give information. And like you said, I have my Be Calm leadership group where I post around and ask around.
Yes, and
Uh,
for me, I use Shawna's Success Studio, which is essentially geared towards professionals who are looking to be more successful. And that might be business tips, but it also can be let's take care of yourself tips because we know if we don't take care of ourselves, that concept of sharpen the saw, we're not going to be the leaders in our own individual professions. And then I have a private group that's partnered with my From Burnout to Bliss course
yeah,
that I teach,
yeah.
because those people are different. And I think too, I love what we're doing here, the virtual conferencing, because when I work with my clients and we have sessions one-on-one, it's a friendly, well, first of all, it works really well for me. It's friendly. I can go over 60 minutes if I feel like it's necessary. Many of my sessions are 90 minutes. If they are intensives. And I used to pay for Zoom in order to be able to go over the 40 minutes, but I gave up my paid membership because it wasn't as functional as I find this. And I also like the fact that when we're in my room, I brand it with my colors and things that I don't know, kind of give an essence of me, which I think help people. They're either attracted to my style or they're not, right? And some people are
Mhm.
very ultra professional and they're all in black and white, and other people are more pink. It just depends. Everybody's different. And as you can tell, I kind of have a color scheme, and that's how I call it decorating my meeting room. But it's like when people come and visit your office in person, they're going to get a sense of who you are by your decor, by your certificates and your diplomas and the styles of the chair. This gives them a sense of coming into your office, even if it's virtual.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really especially when you're building trust with a new client. I think that that's a highly important aspect of being able to use this platform to build your business.
Yeah. I just want to warn that it comes up a sign saying something went wrong. Please try again. The red ones that are. So there might be that we will be shut out
Oh,
from here
yeah.
all of a sudden.
Yep.
But the time is come anyway to kind of uh, wrap this up. And
Mhm.
it's really nice hearing your story, and I can relate so much to what you're saying. And we do work with the same thing, same, but from different angles, I would say.
Mhm. Yes.
And also that you found great help in BeeKonnected and doing things this way that we can do in this new platform that is
Yeah.
so fantastic and so different from all the others that I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. We've taken the best of the others and
Yeah,
put it all
exactly.
together. Yes,
Exactly. And more to come.
absolutely. Yes, I'm so excited. I am proud and humbled at the same time to be part of Be Connected and be a coach to help other people become successful. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for the invitation. I have greatly, greatly enjoyed it and appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you. And before you leave, or if you want to, people who listen to this, if you want to see the replay, then join my Be Calm Leadership group because it's going to be in the back office from that group. And if you join there, I'll uh, approve you as soon as we are done here. And I want to thank everyone who is listening. And next week, I will be back with a new guest. And thank you so much, Shawna.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being
Bye
here and thanks
bye.
for watching the replay for those that do.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's see.